In question 1, you are provided with the bones, bone K, bone L, M, and N and P. Then you are told in Roman 1, identify the bones and name part of the mammalian body where each was obtained. First of all, examine the bones carefully and see which part of the body they are from. Now, in bone K, as you can see, this is the humerus. This is the humerus, and bone L, this is the scapula, and bone M, this is the femur. This is the femur. And then bone N, this is the tibia. This is the tibia. And then bone P is the ulna and radius. Now let's answer our question. Identify the bone and where it is found. Now bone K, we have said this is the humerus. The humerus, bone K. Bone K is the humerus, and it is found in the upper forelimb. Upper forelimb. While bone L, scapula. Bone N is scapula, and it is found in the shoulder region. Shoulder region. Then bone M, I've seen that is the femur, and then it is found in the upper forelimb. No, sorry, the upper hind limb. The arm is known as the forelimb, while the leg the hind limb. Now the N was the tibia. Now this is found in the lower hind limb. Lower hind limb. And then P was the ulna and radius, and it is found in the lower forelimb. Lower forelimb. Yeah. Then you are told, name the parts labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 from the bones. Let's see those parts. Now, as you can see, this is the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. Now the first one is which it is found in the humerus, number 1. They are the lateral and medial condyles. Condyles, or you can simply call them condyles. And then number 2 is found in the scapula. This is the glenoid cavity. Yeah, number 3 is found in the femur, and this is the head of the femur. This is the head of the femur. Then number 4 is found also in the femur. The femur, and it is here. This one. That one is the patella. The groove of the patella groove. It is found in the knee there. And then number 5, this is the shaft. This is the shaft. Now we can label our parts. Can label the first one we have said. Yeah, now we can name our parts. The first one we have said the condyles, or the lateral and the medial condyles. And then the second one We have said it's the glenoid cavity. The glenoid cavity. Third one is the head of the femur, the head. Then the fourth one, the patella groove. And then last one is the shafts. Then you are told, name the bones that form a joint with bone K at the anterior and the posterior, and in each name the type of joint they form. First of all, you should be able to understand these terms, the anterior and the posterior. The earlier video we said that anterior is the upper side, while posterior, this is the lower side. Now, when you have identified like that, now you look for the bone K. Bone K, this is the humerus. And then you should be able to know at the upper side which joint they form. Bone K, they join together with the scapula. The humerus at the anterior, they join with the scapula and they form a ball and socket joint. And then posterior end, they form a joint with the ulna and radius, and then they form a joint known as the hinge joint. Then the next question will be, welcome, this is Kcse 2013 biology paper 3. Let's see what you are supposed to do. In question 1, the photograph below shows the inner surface of the upper left side of the rib cage. So you can see this is the rib cage, these are the ribs. Then you are told, name the bone covered by the fatty tissue labeled K. Name the bone. This one now, this is the bone that is covered by the fatty tissue labeled K. Now that is the sternum. Then you are told, explain the role of the part labeled M in inhalation. Part labeled M, these are the ribs. M is the rib. Now you are told to explain the role during inhalation. You will say, after the internal intercostal muscle relax, after the internal let's write here this question Roman 2, and after the internal intercostal muscles relaxes, the rib cage moves upwards and outwards. After this one increases the temperature and decreases the pressure. This increases the volume, not the temperature, sorry. Increases the volume and decreases the pressure. the pressure in the rib cage. The rib cage, we have said that is the rib cage, M. Now after the pressure and the volume have the pressure has decreased and the volume have increased, now the air is forced into the lung. The air is forced into the lungs. That is the role of the part labeled M. Now question B, you are told the photograph the mammalian vertebrae. Now you should be able to identify the mammalian vertebrae. This is the thoracic because of the long neural spine and the centrum, which is broad wide neural canal, and the transverse process. Now this is the thoracic vertebrae. Now you are told state the view of the vertebra presented. Now this is the dorsal view or the anterior view. The anterior should be able to know the difference between anterior and posterior. As in the early video we said the posterior, this is the downwards, this is the lower part, while the anterior, this is the upper part. Should be able to know the differences. Now this is the anterior view or the dorsal view. The anterior is seeing the upper part, we are not seeing the lower part. This is now the anterior view or the dorsal view. Then Roman 2, you are told name and state one function of the part labeled T. Part labeled T is the neural canal. This is it is pointing the center neural canal. That is the neural canal. Now you say name, this is the neural canal, and therefore this allows for the passage of the spinal cord. Yeah. Then you are told Roman 3, how are the parts labeled S and V adapted to their functions? Now S and V, S is the neural spine, and then V, this is the centrum. Now the adaptation of these two, you will say S being the neural spine is long, that is how it is adapted. Now function is to provide surface for muscle attachment. Yes. Now and then in V, which is the centrum, it is thick. That is how it is adapted. It is thick or it is broad to bear the weight of the body. And 3 says the photographs below shows two skeletal ribs of a mammalian, mammal. This is A and B. This is the A, this is B. Now before answering question, let's look the structures well. As you can see, this is the scapula. This is the humerus. So therefore this whole skeleton, this is the forelimb, forelimb. This is from in the arm, it is known as the forelimb, and in the leg, this is the hind limb, because this is the femur. We have tibia and fibula, tibia and fibula. Yeah, here we have ulna and radius I hope it is visible, you are able to see. Now let's answer our question after we have identified the skeletons. Which of the two skeletons represent a forelimb? As you have seen, A, this is A, this is B. A, this is the forelimb, A. Give reasons from and to state the features observable on the skeleton to confirm your answer. We have seen it has the scapula. There is presence of scapula. Also, there is presence of humerus, presence of ulna and radius. Can write those ones. Presence of humerus, presence of ulna and radius, ulna and radius, and etc. Now let's go to B. Name the bones labeled J, K, and M. Now J is the lower, K is here, K, this is J and K, then M are here, M are the hind limb. Now J, as you see, the first one is the ulna, the second is the radius. Therefore, J is the radius. K, then K is here. K, this is the femur. K is the femur. And here we see this is the tarsals, metatarsals, this is the phalanges, M is the phalanges, this one. Therefore, M is the phalanges. Yes. Which bone forms the second joint with the bone labeled K? Now, K is the femur. Which bone forms the second joint? Now we are asked about the bone above K, above the femur. You know that is the pelvic girdle. And then D, you are asked, name the type of joint formed at the part labeled H and L. Part labeled H. Now H, as you can see, is here. Is the H, the wrist. Here is the wrist, and here between femur and the tibia and fibula. Now you are asked to name the joint. Here in H, in the wrist, this is known as the gliding joint, while in L, this is the hinge joint, because it can only move in only one plane, cannot move at 360 like the ball and socket joint, which is found there above the femur. Therefore, H is the gliding joint, while L is the hinge joint. Then lastly, it says, apart from the bones, state the function of any two other components of a joint. Now you should be able to know the components of a joint. There are many, but let's give like 3 or 4. Let's give 4. First component is the ligament. Ligament, its function is to attach a bone and another bone, a bone to another bone to another. Well, another one is the tendon. You should be able to know difference between this one, ligament, and tendon. Tendon attaches a bone to and a muscle, while this one attaches a bone and a bone. The second one is the cartilage. Cartilage is found in the vertebral column. The cartilage acts as a cushion to reduce friction. Here, function is to reduce friction. Another component of joint is this synovial fluid. That is a fluid found in a joint. This one lubricates also by reducing friction. Lubricates by reducing friction. Another one is the synovial membrane. Synovial membrane, this one secretes the synovial fluid, secretes the synovial fluid. That's all. So in question 2 it reads, below the pictures of 3 mammalian vertebrae. Now here a student should be able to know how many vertebrae do human beings have. Now we have cervical vertebrae, lumbar vertebrae, thoracic vertebrae, caudal vertebrae, and sacral vertebrae. Those are 5. Now for those 5 you should have the unique characteristics that you should be able to identify. Now let's start identifying ours. The first F is cervical vertebrae, because it has a wide neural canal. It's wide, very wide, as you see, and also it has vertebral canal. Now that is F. You have identified it is cervical vertebrae. G, this is thoracic vertebrae, because this has many extended projection. That's why you say this thoracic vertebrae. This cervical is found in neck region, and this one is found in thoracic region. Now we go for H. This is lumbar vertebrae. Because first of all it has long neural spine, and also has a wide and large centrum. Now let's go to the question. After you have identified the bones, now you go to the question. Identify the type of vertebrae labeled F, G, and H. As now your work will be easy because you have identified. Now F is cervical vertebrae. F is cervical vertebrae or vertebra, and G is thoracic vertebra, and H is lumbar. Lumbar vertebra. Now you are told now in B, label 5 parts of the vertebra labeled H. H, you know now, is lumbar vertebra. Now you should be able to label. Now we start. The first one, this is neural canal. Here, this is metamorphosis. This is transverse process that we have been told to label 5. This is first, second, third. Now we have labeled the fourth, which is the centrum. Now the fifth, neural canal. Now you get your 5 marks. Now after you have labeled in B, now you go to C. Name the articular facets labeled K and L. K and L. K and L are found in thoracic vertebrae. Now you should be able to know that K is tubercular facet, and L is capitular facet. S is tubercular facet, and L is capitular facet. After you have identified, now you name in your question. This is tubercular facet, and this is capitular facet. Now you proceed. How does each of the parts of the vertebra enable a mammalian skeleton to carry out its function? Now this is where you should come and identify the parts and the function of those projection and this centrum. Those are things that you are being asked. Now for the first one, you can say it possesses a large or broad centrum to support the body weight of the vertebrae. Now you see we have large or broad centrum to support the body vertebrae. That's the function of the centrum, is offers support to the body of the vertebrae. Now the second one, as we see, they have the second one, as you see, all of them have the neural canal. Now you say have neural canal to allow for the passage of the spinal cord. Finish. Next we have the possesses. As you see, all of them have extended projection. I will say they have this extended projection and the transverse process. We will say they have have transverse process, which helps in attachment of the abdominal muscles. A learner should notice that and know that all projection in any body, any projection offers a surface for muscle attachment. Now we go and see that they have facets. You see, have facets, for articulation with other vertebrae. Now we have answered our 4 marks. The first, we have centrum, neural canal, transverse process, and facets. Now come to today's lesson. Today we are dealing with 2018 biology practical. Let's enter inside and see what it contains. In question 1, the photographs below represent 3 mammalian bones labeled E, F, and G. You should be able to understand and to know the drawings of the various mammalian bones. In this question, they are not very visible, but we will still answer them. E was the scapula, F is the humerus, and G is the ulna and radius. Now you are told, with a reason, identify the bones. Bone E, you have said it's a scapula. Reason is because has glenoid cavity. This is the glenoid cavity. This one, the glenoid is the glenoid cavity. Yeah, that's the reason it has the glenoid cavity. Also has the acromion. This is the acromion. This one, acromion, and this is the meta acromion. Yes, this is the spine. Yeah, you should be able to know those parts. Those reasons are okay. In F is the humerus. F is the humerus because, as you can see, though it is not very visible, has a rounded head. Has a rounded head. But in E, the scapula, you should be able to know where it is found. It is found at the shoulder, here up at the shoulder. And the humerus, it's below the shoulder. The shoulder has the reason is has a rounded head that articulate with the glenoid cavity. Now this round-headed head is here, it articulates with the glenoid cavity. Now here, those two are from the arm. Another Another reason is has condyles. The condyles articulates with the radius and ulna. And G now is the ulna and radius. Ulna has, the reason is because they have a sigmoid notch. This is the sigmoid notch, this hole, the sigmoid notch. This is the ulna and the radius. Yeah, ulna and radius has the sigmoid notch. The reason is has sigmoid notch. Also they have the greater tuberosity and the biseptal groove. You should be able to know the drawings of the mammalian bone. But a question in this year, it seems that they can bring the bones, so students should be able to know all types and drawings. You should be able to relate various drawings and know how to label them. In B, you are told, name the joints formed at the anterior and the posterior ends of F. F is the humerus. This is the anterior, and the posterior. Posterior is the lower end. Here is up. This is lower. This is upper. Anterior and posterior. Should be able to know those terms. Anterior and posterior. Now, the joint in the anterior, the upper one, it is ball and socket joint. Ball and socket joint. And in the posterior, the lower end, is the hinge joint. They articulate there with the ulna and radius, the hinge joint. In C, state the types of movement facilitated by the joint at the anterior end of the specimen labeled F. We have seen the joint in the anterior end is the ball and socket joint. This joint, it rotates 360 degrees. So the movement is rotation of the arm. It rotates. Movement is rotation of the arm. It rotates in all directions, all planes. Rotation of the arm. D, Roman 1. Name the substance found inside the living tissue of the specimen represented in photograph M. Photograph M, we have said, is humerus. Now in humerus we found that it contains the bone marrow. Bone marrow, its function is helps in the manufacture of the red blood cells. Even we have been asked, state the function of the substance named. Help in the manufacture of red blood cells. C, Roman 1. Name the muscle bundle usually attached onto the front of the specimen represented into the photograph M. We are asked the muscle bundle of the humerus. You know that the muscle bundle in front is the bicep, while the muscle bundle that it is at the back, it is the tricep. Now you have been asked the front one, which is the biceps. Biceps. Spelling, you should be able to know the spelling. Biceps. State the function of the muscle bundle. The function is it relax and contract to move the lower arm. Contract or relax to move the lower